change is pretty much the only constant. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up and move and do the wrong thing. But that's how you learn. That's how you get better. You can't dwell in the past, look to the future, but you can't control that. You can't control what's already happened. So you just got all you can control is how you process it and then move forward.
As a financial advisor over the last 2 decades, I've worked with many individuals in different phases of their career. The stories you're about to hear are not printed in brochures or seen in sizzle reels. Join me as I explore the real, raw stories of people who define their own version of success, revealing their strategies, struggles, and secrets along the way. This is Success Unscripted with Jonathan Israel. Today, I sat down with the chief executive of Gladstones Legacy Group, Jim Harris, who, with his partners, operates the iconic Gladstones restaurant in Malibu. Whether you live in or have visited LA, chances are you have a memory at Gladstones. We dive into the restaurant's rich history, how they are recovering from the Palisades fire, and what the future holds for this local legend. Here's my conversation with Jim Harris. Well, hey, Jim, thanks for joining me.
Jonathan, thank you for having me.
Thanks. I'm joined by Jim Harris, the CEO of Gladstones Legacy Group, which operates the famous Gladstones restaurant in Malibu.
The original?
The original, yeah. And this sounds silly for anyone who lives in LA because it's such an iconic restaurant. And I feel like everyone has a memory at Gladstones, myself included. But why don't you just take a minute for people who may be unfamiliar with Gladstones to give us a little bit of background and history?
For sure. It definitely has a storied past. Bob Morris opened it in 1972. Had a couple other partners with him up in Santa Monica Canyon. After a couple of years, he ran a spot called Jetties, which was on the beach where Gladstones is currently located, at the corner of Sunset Boulevard and PCH, which is the center focal point for movies, TV shows, entertainment, Hollywood.
Beautiful.
Where it all comes together. It's actually Sunset Boulevard dead ends into our parking lot, and the sun sets right there into the ocean. So we're kind of just on hallowed ground, so to speak. So it moved from the canyon down to where its current location is in 1979. All through the 80s, it was the spot to be. Dr. Dre and Tupac and all those guys hanging out, to Baywatch being filmed out front. Pamela Anderson and David Hasselhoff running down the beach. It's about a quarter of a mile north of the main lifeguard tower where that was filmed. And it was kind of like the center of LA celebrity and all of that time. So wild stories about that time definitely exist. I'm sure there was a lot of things going on. But yeah, it was fun. They would make the menus up every day, and they would write people's birthdays.
What do you mean by that? Make the menus up every day?
So they would hand draw the menus, and they put the fish of the day, who's coming, reservations. I actually have seen one that said Dr. Dre and 10 people at 4:00. Birthday party. So people hold on to them. They've held on to that legacy for a long time. It was the spot to be. Then move into the 90s. I actually moved to LA in the 90s, and I was a dishwasher up the road at a place called Duke's. Still there and still good friends. I was there for about 15 years.
Yeah.
But even then,
the enemy.
Even then, the 90s, I would take the bus past Gladstones and just be mad because they were so busy all the time. It was definitely the spot, the happening spot for decades. Really exciting.
Wait, so you moved out here in the 90s from where?
I went to college in Charleston in South Carolina. So, but my dad was in the Navy, so I lived in 18 places by the time I was 18 years old. Really? And just really got to see a bunch of the world, a bunch of spots, Northern Cal to up and down the East Coast. And I got here, and that will be 30 years ago this July. So I decided not to. I found the best place. Decided to stay here.
Yeah, but what brought you out here initially, though? Why did you choose Los Angeles?
I did get that job at Duke's. A friend was working there, but I was gonna be a big rock star.
Yeah.
Studied music and came out here and got in a band and toured around and did Warped Tours and kind of the punk rock stuff. My classical advisor.
You play at Warped Tour?
Yeah.
Wait, what was your band?
2 Cents. 2 Cents was the band.
Give me some years here, because I've been to Warped Tours.
That was probably 2000, 2001. But we mainly we toured with Pennywise and did a bunch of Volcom tours and stuff like that. But tours since
I remember
like 96 to 2002, probably stuff like that. We played a bunch.
Very, very likely I probably saw you at a Warped Tour.
I'm sure if you were getting a beer and I'm way by the side stage, I'm sure you might have heard something coming out of it. But no, we had it was just a really fun time. It was really great. Malibu at that time was the guys in my band, Dave and Adam, were just from that neighborhood and it accepted me, and we just made all sorts of friends and knew everyone in the whole area. It was really awesome. A good time, the 90s in Malibu.
Yeah.
And around that time is when Mayor Reardon bought Gladstones.
That's right. Famously owned by Mayor Reardon.
Mayor Reardon took it over mid-90s. He
when did you start work? Because what was your transition from Dukes to eventually getting to Gladstone?
Yeah, well, it was a weird transition. I definitely moved through some different things. After 15 years, I opened my own restaurant with a partner, John Atkinson, in Mar Vista called Louis. It took us about 4 years to get a one-room restaurant and bar open, built from the ground up, but it worked out for us for a little bit.
Had an idea to do.
Yeah, well, you know, his old man, Big John, had some property around, so we got to use an old laundromat that before the laundromat was a butcher shop back in the 50s. Mm-hmm. So we turned that into like kind of a small steakhouse bar, kind of, you know, chef driven and small and family. But yeah. So I did that for a while and went back into the corporate world at Red O and worked at Red O and Mackay and Santa Monica and just kind of stumbled into some better things. And every time got a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And I was working at Lunetta with Rafael Lunetta, one of the owners there. Introduced me to Mayor Reardon's wife, Elizabeth Reardon.
Okay.
I went and met them, and they were having some struggles with the management team at Gladstones. They had gone through several general managers in a short amount of time, and the temperament and the morale was not where it should have been. And yeah, it was pretty daunting to go to such a large restaurant after working virtual mom and pop style restaurants.
Right.
All of a sudden have 100, 150 people on staff.
Well, and I don't remember exactly, but I seem to recall that Gladstones at one point was like the number 37 highest grossing restaurant in the country.
It was the number one highest grossing restaurant in California.
Was it?
Independently owned.
So you're talking, this is a major big
it's a major 17,000 square feet is the property. So it's like it goes on 4 days. Sometimes I'll get to my car and realize I left my glasses on my desk upstairs in my office, and it's probably a 20, 30-minute trip to go back there. And I'll go upstairs, unlock all the gates and doors, get my sunglasses. But yeah, no, it's a really special place. It's just got a lot of history, and the team that's been there has been around for 30, 40 years. A lot of times we have multiple generations from the same family that work there, have worked there. So
did Mayor Reardon bring you in as a general manager?
He did. He needed somebody to kind of right the ship and make it. I think a lot of people come in and try and put their stamp on it. I had a real good staff member that's been there forever, Heidi Hayes, that told me, like, just let Gladstones be Gladstones.
Right.
Everyone wants to come in and make it their version of Gladstones. I had some humbling advice early on that said, hey, let it do what it does. Like, kind of, it's a big ship. Just to try and get it steady is one thing. To try and turn it around and turn it into something else is something that I was aptly able to avoid. So what year was this? So this was 2017 is when I first met the mayor.
Okay.
I sat down with him in his library at the mansion with 2 stories.
Which of course he was mayor from what, like 93?
Probably he had 2 terms, 90 to 98, something like that. Okay. During the Watts riot, during the OJ stuff, he was a pivotal figure in Los Angeles at a critical time too, with unrest from the riots. And then you had, don't forget, the 94 quake. Yeah, the Northridge quake was a big part of what he did.
Were you?
I was not here for that, but my wife, Leslie,
lucky you.
She lived in Simi Valley, and her high school was actually shut down during that time. So very familiar with it. He did a whole lot of good things after that. A lot of it was he cut all the red tape. He's like, hey, everyone get things done. Instead of having to wait on the permits, stuff we're struggling with these days, he was like, get it done now. We'll get permission for it later.
Right.
His big axiom was like, it's easier to get forgiveness than permission. So, and it was something he lived by. So,
just get things done.
I met him and I sat down and we hit it off. He told me I could fire everyone I wanted, including the the general manager at the time, who was kind of filling in because he wasn't a real trained general manager, but he's like, you can fire him right now if you want to. And this guy, Alex Pennison, is still my AGM and still has been around the whole time. 10 years before me, still there. He's awesome.
But wait, what gave him the confidence to meet you and just be like, here, Jim, you can fire everybody. You're in charge now.
You know, just the people that recommended me, and something happened in our first meeting that, you know, he made decisions quickly.
Sometimes
He wasn't.
You just know when it's right.
Yeah. And also sometimes if you deliberate too long, you can get hamstrung and not make any decisions at all. So
analysis paralysis.
He made a decision. He's like, it's your restaurant. If you F it up, that's on you. So I was like, okay.
You don't make him upset.
Yeah, definitely not. No, he never really threatened to fire me. He told me he would have me killed instead. So that was our ongoing joke. But no, he put a lot of faith in me. He definitely let me mess up. Anytime you're in any kind of career, you're going to make mistakes. And he wasn't like, oh, you made a mistake, you're out. Like, oh, you made a mistake, learn from it, get better. So, and he was encouraging like that, I think, for all of the people that were around him, all the people that worked underneath. Richard Riordan would totally agree that he gave you free reign to learn and make mistakes and was not judgmental and did not hold stuff against you.
That's awesome. So there's been a lot of struggles that you guys have faced in recent years, but has there, and I want to get into COVID and the fires, of course. Was there ever a time where you thought, geez, Gladstones might not make it?
Yeah, no, things were definitely hard. It's a large operation to run, and especially in an economy when it opened during the heyday in the 80s, it was the only game in town. And they opened Duke's and then Nobu and then Windsail and all the different places in Malibu that were a lot of competition, which didn't really exist in those early years.
Yeah.
So and then people do want the newest and the shiniest thing. A lot of people that come from far away come and they want to see the OG California Gladstones. But, you know, for a lot of the local residents, they want something new and shiny.
This is the problem with LA. LA it's such an incredible city for food, but that's the problem is there's so many options. There's so many good options. And it's very common that it's like, oh, that place that we liked, but we only really went to, 2 or 3 times is no longer there. And there's something new there now. And so to have a legacy like yours, 50 plus years, so rare.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And definitely people, when it's going through that kind of turnover in management, quality suffers. So through years, people go there and get kind of a so-so experience. And then they're like, oh, the place is just a tourist trap. It's volume and it doesn't really have any quality. But when I got there, I was coming from a couple of chef-driven houses in a row. And I was like, no, we don't need to get everything out of a bag and a frozen bag and drop it in a fryer. Let's cut French fries. Let's use fresh herbs, greens, stuff like that. And the team was excited about it, especially the culinary team. One of my partners, Juan Aquino, is the head chef, and he just really bought into hey, let's do things differently. It's not about just cranking stuff out and getting people out of here. It's like, let's try and make it more of a food destination like it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your favorite thing on the menu?
My favorite thing? It's a bunch of them. I'll tell you funny, and we'll get back to the fires and stuff, but we were closed for about 6 months after the fire. And we had heard feedback that our fish and chips weren't what they were supposed to be. So the 4 of us, the 4 key managers, every Monday we would meet and we would go and eat every fish and chip in town just to find out where the best ones were, what we could do. And our fish and chips are our number one seller. And and Juan really nailed it on the recipe. They're crispy, they're light, they're fluffy. They got almost like a tempura on the outside. So some of the classics.
So that might be your favorite.
I think right now that's my favorite. That's what I'm pushing. You should try it.
Yeah.
Obviously, our chowder has been the same recipe for 50 years. And
I was going to say the chowder is great. There's so many great things on your menu.
Yeah.
When I go there, obviously the chowder is great, but I'm a best of both worlds kind of guy. So I always will go for the surf and turf.
Oh, nice.
Probably 7 times out of 10. And outside of that, I really like the fish tacos are really good.
Yeah, the Baja style tacos are really good right now.
Yeah.
But the surf and turf is on the menu still. We're a little bit limited right now just because of our kitchen situation. We're rebuilding the main restaurant.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, maybe let's take a step back because I want to mention something about COVID.
Okay.
And that is that us, like everyone else, were shut down because we were kind of an older restaurant and we weren't sure what the future looked like. We all kind of assumed it was over anyway.
Mhm.
And we laid everyone off. And sure enough, 3 months later, April 1st, they called like, hey, do you want to reopen? And we had already let everyone go. They're doing other things. Everyone was getting supplemental money from the government. And a lot of people that were reopening had so much trouble getting their staff back.
Yes.
And
this was a big problem, especially in LA.
It was. It was. And everybody that worked for us came back without a second question. Like, of course, yeah, I'll be right back. So we had a full staff in no time. And I think it's just because of the culture, because of the team, of how we work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then to fast forward to the fire, that was the same thing. Everyone was let go. And when we was time to reopen, as we started opening, anybody who asked to come back did. So it's kind of like we've been to the end of the world twice already as a team.
Yeah.
This group has like actually seen what could be what we considered at the time. We had no idea how COVID was going to evolve and what the world was going to look like afterwards. But
right.
I think part of their...
I mean, you guys had to deal with such crazy things during that time too, like that whole, the silliness of masking on your way in and out, but it's okay once you're seated. Like, I mean, you look back at it, it's like, I can't believe we lived.
Well, the hard part about that wasn't necessarily even us. It was the guests. Like, it was very polarizing. Some guests understood why there was a need for masks. Some guests were furious about it. People would come in, and it was, hospitality really took a dive during that time because it was almost like survival. Like, I'm like, hey, these guys are here risking their lives literally so you can have fish and chips by the beach.
Yeah.
And the people that didn't appreciate that, I'll go to the table and invite them to leave, saying, hey, if you don't want, you don't need to be here. So that changed a little bit. And we had to really look at ourselves and get back to where like, hey, we're here for the guests. The guests are supporting us, you know?
Right.
It was an unfortunate side effect that was temporary. And now we're really just refocused on the community, helping people get past the experience we've just been through.
Right. Yeah, because what you just went through was you guys sustained. I mean, some people think you guys burned down. You guys sustained some damage.
It was reported on the news. It burned down. We were on our way out of town, and we started getting phone calls, and then we pretty much watched it burn down on live television. But the next morning, our friends that were down there, Chad and Shane, were cruising around on dirt bikes. They lived in the area. They did lose their homes, unfortunately, but they gave us reports that Gladstones was still standing. So we do have 2 health permits on the property. So that health permit for our outdoor bar and kitchen, it wasn't affected because it wasn't burned specifically. Our main building that's been there for 50 years sustained some pretty intense damage. So pockmarks in the roof from golf ball or football size embers that landed on it. And as long as the back storage and our ice machines and wherever we kept our dry storage, that whole part of the building was burnt. And that's the area where the electrical comes in. So we've got to bring the whole building up to modern code, a 50-year-old building. So that means new electrical, new plumbing, new bathrooms. It's a really big job, but we're working really, really as quickly as we can to get it done. And we're hoping to have it open by June is our target date to get the main restaurant and our event spaces back up and running.
But you guys are still operating now, right?
Yeah, our deck holds about 250 people. So we still can have
deck seating right now.
It's outdoor seating, but there's big canopies. We have heaters for when it's cold.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing good on your way to hopefully a full recovery and maybe bigger and better than it ever was.
We're really excited about it. We had to knock out a chemical closet and turn that into extra bathrooms. So we just got all new tile, countertops, lighting, plumbing. It's going to be really, really special.
You told me a funny story about Mayor Reardon and when he was the owner of the restaurant.
Yeah, he was my mentor, definitely a good person. And he would come down. Sometimes I'd be on the way home and they'd be like, Mayor's here. And I'd turn around, like, go back. And it was basically my job to escort him through the restaurant. He loved people. He would ask every kid what school they went to or where'd you go to college.
Yeah.
He would sing to people, but he'd tell this really corny joke. And sometimes it would go over well, but he'd say, hey, can I ask you a serious question? And he'd look at the girls and say, what are you beautiful women doing with such ugly men? And it would go over sometimes and people would laugh or chuckle. Sometimes the men would get steamed. And he would just keep moving to the next table and leave me to clean up the mess. Like, oh, let me explain. He's actually the owner of the building and the mayor. And
that's so funny.
Yeah, he did not care. He gave.
What's the biggest lesson you learned working with Richard Reardon?
I think honesty, just be open, give people second chances. I think the biggest lessons I've learned over this whole time is just that change is pretty much the only constant. Like you're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up and move and do the wrong thing. But that's how you learn. That's how you get better. You can't dwell in the past. You have to live in the present. Right. You have to like look to the future, but you can't control that. You can't control what's already happened. So you just got all you can control is how you process it and to move forward. And he was, like I said, he was really forgiving and open about that.
Yeah, well, he did good getting you, it just proves if you have the right team members in place, you can do anything. And he got the right guy in place to run the restaurant. And then I know you told me how important your team members were for keeping everything going.
Yeah, for sure. We have a couple different groups. It's mainly the operating group is me, Ramar Green, Alex Peniston, and Juan Aquino. So we're the 4 partners, and we own Legacy Restaurant Associates. That's our main operating entity that runs the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And then when the mayor passed away, there was a big hubbub. They were going to shut the restaurant down.
Was the mayor involved up until the end?
Oh, when he passed, it was still and everything went to his charitable trust, all of his possessions, that the pantry downtown. Wow. So it was all there. And after a while, the trust is a charitable trust. So Carl McKenzie that runs it was just a really great human being. And he came and he was like, hey, we can't run this for-profit business anymore. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. So come 2023, around June, July, we knew we were going to shut down because they just weren't going to run it anymore and the lease was going to be up the end of August. So then around mid-July, the county, Don Geisinger, one of my mentors as well. I've got been blessed to be surrounded with some really smart people. Him and Roger Howard, who's like lead counsel for beaches and harbors. They came and they were like, hey, can you keep this running? We don't want it to sit empty. We don't want it to be here. There's another development that's wants to move in and tear it down and build a big restaurant. But in the meantime, would you consider taking it on? And we all looked around and I'm like, yeah, we'd love to. And then we actually realized like, we're going to need some capital, some working capital.
Yeah.
And Mayor Reardon and Carl McKenzie and Murray Rudin are like the people that ran his trust gave us a nice severance, how you put it, but gave us some advantages in order to be able to run it, but we still needed some more capital. And it kind of woke me up in the middle of the night one night, and I was like, Voltaire, who's been operating our parking lot for the last several years, who actually came from Brazil with his wife. Their first job when they got to Los Angeles was parking cars at Gladstones. And so now they have an Empire safety park. It's all over Los Angeles. Anytime you go anywhere on the west side, it's usually a safety park parking lot, Santa Monica, wherever.
No way.
And so I reached out to him and he came right on. He's like, Jim, we love working with you. Anything we can do to make it. His wife, Lizane, is awesome. And she was just like very supportive. They're like, you need this, we'll do it. You need this, we'll do it. And we didn't want to like finance the whole thing and be working for someone. We're really looking at being autonomous, being owner operated, because it really meant a lot to us. We all had a lot of stake in the game. And so I called my accountant and I'm like, hey, we're considering doing this. Like, we're just a little bit short. I'm still looking for one investor. And he was on safari in Africa. His name's Philip Gay. And he just said, I'm in. And I didn't even ask him to be an investor. I didn't even think of it. But he's like, I'm in before we could even ask anybody else. He didn't want us to go to anyone else. He's like, I'm in. He's like, I'm in Africa. It's like 4 a.m. right now. But when I get on a plane and get back, like, we'll hammer out the details.
Yeah.
So Philip, who was our accountant who ran all of our books for Gladstones, and then our parking lot operator, came in and gave us the extra funding we needed. And so we have the core group of employees, along with 2 people that have a really vested interest in making the entity succeed. So we're all working towards a common goal, and we work really well together. And we're just...
so you guys literally stepped in to save Gladstone.
We did. Wow. And the thing about it is the liquor license was kind of the key piece, because if we had let the building shut down, there would have been a reapplication process, which in the state of California is intense and it takes a long time. And we would have had to shut down for however long and then reopen and repair the building and stuff. So we had to get a new entity formed, get it funded, and get the ABC to sign off on it in about 3.5, 4 weeks, which was just a run situation. And we actually
pulled that one off.
We just threw everything. We didn't think about the obstacles. We just thought about what it would take to get it done, how to get through the trees without hitting them. It's kind of what I think about. But it all happened really fast, and we didn't know we were going to actually get the liquor license until 1 week before we were supposed to shut down. When we got it was a Saturday morning. We brought everyone in the kitchen, and we're like, hey, we're not closing. We're going to be able to reopen. We created a new
So
company.
everyone went from... That's
this is our last week.
We're out here.
We're out, and then there was cheers. It was like a movie. It was really dramatic. I remember a kid named Sammy just like got everyone so amped, and we were just all just really feeling good about the situation.
Yeah.
So we formed a company called Gladstones Legacy Group, and mainly in honor of the mayor, because Richard Riordan was the one that trusted us, and he put us in a position to be successful in order to take over and have the funding in order to be able to not come. You can't run a restaurant with zero capital. So,
right.
So for that week, we carried on business as usual. We fired everybody on Friday, and we rehired them Saturday morning. Actually, it was Thursday we fired everyone, and we took 1 day to clean the whole restaurant, repaint, do whatever we could.
Yeah.
And then we opened on Saturday to the public. So we were closed for about 24 hours.
Wow.
And again, that's one of the... So that's actually technically 3 times now that I've termed everybody.
I was going to say that's 3 times. Yeah.
3 times I fired everyone and hired them all back. And we actually even severed them on the way out, which was really nice. And so they got a little bonus for getting fired. It worked out.
Right. Yeah, that works out.
Yeah.
Especially get hired back the next day.
So yeah, and here we are now after the fires. We're rebuilding. We're partially open. We're still really excited about the project. There is, as we discussed, another entity that wants to come in and take over.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. So what's the...
Yeah, that's out there. They've been working on it now for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really ambitious project. It's a whole tear down and a rebuild in a coastal zone. So they've got the Coastal Commission to deal with, the city of Los Angeles, Caltrans, Building and Safety, County, Beaches and Harbors, everybody. Beaches and Harbors has been really supportive of us being here. Really thankful that we're here in the interim. And if that project does get off the ground, we definitely want to expand and take the Gladstones name into other places. And they support that as well. Director Gary Jones and Amy Caves, who's the deputy director, have just really helped us through some difficult times with the fire, with rebuilding and getting our permits pushed through, which I know has been a big issue for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping to get it rebuilt, really invigorate the brand and grow it into something special. That it might have lost over 50 years. It's easy for a brand to lose its way,
right?
Especially without solid leadership or a central concept. So we're just really trying to make the best of it and reignite the theme behind it. So if we do take it somewhere else, it'll have a much stronger footing.
So you're saying regardless, Gladstones is going to live on. It just might be in a different location sometime in the future.
Sometime in the future, it might be in a different location, but I feel like we have the trust of the people that are in a position to help us with that as well. So
yeah. Well, I got to tell you, as someone who lives in this town and loves Gladstones, it would be weird to drive down Sunset to PCH and not see it there. So if it's more than enough reason to go down.
We get a lot of that. We've had so many people in our times like that. We were supposed to shut down the month before we were supposed to close the first time. Everybody came out of the woodworks, including... There was one weekend, there was Friday night, all the Gladstone staff from the 90s was there. Saturday was all the aughts. Sunday was all the teens. So the people that worked there through different generations, all had their going away parties and letting it go. And so maybe that'll happen again. But everyone has stories about Gladstones. Everyone has a story of my parents met here. My dad's favorite restaurant before he passed. We're here celebrating him.
Of course. Everyone has that.
I might have been conceived under the deck. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard some wild stories. I've heard some stuff. But it's an icon. It's a symbol of Los Angeles. And we just want to make it as great as possible as long as we can do it.
It is a symbol of Los Angeles. And I think right now, especially, it's also a symbol of resilience after the fires. Because didn't they set up camp in your parking lot?
That was the saving grace for us. Station 23. They're right up the street, but they did have a base camp. Them and the 69s and LAFD in general, they had their whole base camp was set up in our parking lot. Whenever the back of our building would catch on fire, they would just come over and put it out. And apparently it caught on fire 5 times. So they spent half their night running back and forth to the back of the building.
Saving Gladstone.
Yeah, saving Gladstone. So we got really lucky. And then the Army Corps of Engineers had our parking lot for about 3 months. And then the gas company had their station. So whenever the gas company was there, they came and helped us get our gas situated and turned back on. And, just the whole community and the rally behind behind us was super
That's really
important.
meaningful. And I know you named a dessert after Station 23, didn't you?
Yeah. The Station 23 is, funny enough, a lava cake with ice cream, and we're actually celebrating them. We did celebrate them on February 20th. We took one of the jackets they donated to us along with their patches and had a really nice plaque, and we put a shadow box and we hung it at the restaurant.
Oh,
and it'll be featured inside the restaurant, but for now it's outside, and anybody wants to come see it. And they just the people that saved our business to make it a place where people can still reflect. We just really want to be there for the community. A lot of people that come see their houses that are under construction, they can't really hang out there because there's nothing to do, so they can come down, and our deck is public. The public is welcome to come there whenever they want. They don't have to buy anything from us. They can sit outside and eat or drink. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. So we just want to be a community center for whoever needs it, and for people coming from afar that still want to enjoy the beach. We've lost a lot of iconic restaurants. Had some murals painted from our friend Jonas Never, who's an amazing artist who paints at Dodger Stadium and Staples Center, Crypto.com, I guess it's called now. But he came and did
It'll always be Staples Center.
A whole wall. He did one of the walls is just a tribute to all the places that were burned. Wiley's Bait and Tackle and the Topanga Motel. There's like a little homage wall to Moon Shadows and all the places that we lost. Yeah, he actually did our shirts that I brought a couple for you and the team if anybody wants to hold on to them. But we really miss those people. We wish the best for them trying to rebuild.
Well, I ask this of almost every guest I sit down with, so I want to ask you as well. What's the best investment you ever made?
I did. I was lucky enough. I had a landlord that had, again, through a relationship, helped me buy a couple of houses in Venice. And I had those for a while. And when I sold those, that's how basically I had the money to invest in Gladstones. So a little property is always a good way to go. Something small that just grows in value and grows in value. So that was the best investment. Maybe Gladstones. We'll see at the end of the road. It seems to be going in a positive direction. So between the two, I would definitely say those are where I'm happiest to be.
Looking back, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
I think the main thing I would give my 20-year-old self is change. Like I said, it's constant. Like you can spend 20 years in a job and get 3% every year. They raise you a little bit. Like take chances. This whole Gladstones is a chance, but with you get fired, you get knocked down, you get whatever. Just like that's all learning. That's the friend used to say like experience is a product of good judgment. Good judgment is a product of experience. Our experience of good judgment is a product of bad judgment. What it is.
Wow. Okay.
So
that's true though. You learn by mistakes, right?
Definitely own the mistakes, take accountability. Always like own what you did and move on and learn from it, and just get used to change. Reinvent yourself. Be open to the universe. Don't quit. Don't give up. For sure.
So I ask this a lot also to my guests. What's the best lesson your mother or father ever taught you?
Well, I'm going to preface that by saying I had 4 really awesome parents. My stepmom and my stepdad were equally enthusiastic about me and my brother's life, and we're all involved. So I was going to do a quick one. My mom taught me how to cook a standing rib roast when I was about 9-10 years old. Like put me up on a stool and how to massage the salt and pepper. Is a really simple recipe. It was like the pounds equals the hours, but also just massage salt and pepper into it. And she was really encouraging about how it came out. And then that was my job every year. I'd make the standing rib roast, and it really gave me confidence in cooking and stuff.
Why is it called standing rib roast?
Because the way you cook it, the rib sticks up like that.
Oh,
like you put it on the side.
Sorry, someone who knows very little about cooking.
It could be a colloquialism from where I grew up in the South, where she grew up. But the way you cook it, instead of on the side, you cook it up like that. And it looks like a turkey or something. But but then it's funny. My wife was asking me stories about my dad. He passed before she met him. And we kind of got to this point, and there's a story about when we were young, we went to Disney World. I'm sure you've been to Disneyland. Have you ever been to Disney World?
I have not.
Well, they have this area of it called Lake Buena Vista, and it's out 20 miles from Disney World, but they have this huge lake, and we rented this boat, and we're sailing out there. My dad was a waterman, but he wanted me to sail, and he'd had me hold the jib. So I'm holding the jib, and every time we'd start to get up on the side, I would let it go. And he would say, hey, where's your sense of adventure? And finally, I just held on and held on and held on. And sure enough, I flipped the sailboat over in the middle of the lake, and I fly off the back of the boat into the water. I come up for air. I'm like, man, I'm in so much trouble. Like, I just flipped over this rented sailboat. And he comes up out of the water just laughing. And he's like, that was awesome, the way you flipped off the back of the boat into the water. And so I figured out later that the reason my wife had been asking me these questions is I had his ring that he had earned in college at the Citadel as a military school.
Yeah.
And I lost it one day in the ocean. We were out there. So it was gone. And for about 2 years, I just kind of let it go. And for my 50th birthday, she had it remade. She had to go to the dean of admission, the dean of the school, and have it totally permitted by the school because I didn't technically earn it. I inherited it.
Right.
Took her over a year to get it done. And it was all gold, so it wasn't done. But then in the inside, she had it inscribed as like, where's your sense of adventure is on there.
Wow.
So Gladstones is definitely part of that adventure. Like,
that's incredible.
It's like a risk of like, hey, you know what? You got to try things. You got to not be afraid to take those risks. You got to, what's the worst that can happen? You fail and do something else.
Right.
So
right.
I think that's really important.
Amazing.
Cool.
Amazing. Thank you for that.
No worries. Thank you.
This was really great to have you on. And I know everyone is going to appreciate the update on Gladstones. Can people reach you? Are you on social media or what's?
Yeah, like Gladstones.com. Our social media is got a girl named Jeanette that does that really well, but it's at Gladstones Malibu. You can definitely look at our Instagram, has updates. We're at the restaurant all the time. It's open every day at 11 a.m. And through your podcast, through some friends of ours at KTLA, we've been able to do spots on there. So you'll get updates and people will say different things, but we're definitely around for a while. We'll be here hopefully through 2030, through the Olympics. We got a lot of exciting things for Los Angeles.
Well, thank you, Jim. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you're curious about working with our team, reach out to us at legacypointwealth@raymondjames.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Success Unscripted. And a special thanks to producer Jake, content manager Angeline, our friends at 7Eki Studios, and everyone else who made this podcast possible. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe and connect with us on social media. You can find us at Legacy Point Wealth on Facebook, Instagram, and X, or by email at legacypointwealth@raymondjames.com. Until next time, thanks for listening.
This material is being provided for informational purposes only and is not a complete description nor recommendation and should not be relied upon as investment advice or the basis for making any investment decisions. It does not constitute an offer to sell or a solicitation of an offer to buy any specific product or service. Raymond James does not provide legal or tax advice, and we recommend listeners obtain appropriate independent professional advice. Raymond James is not affiliated with nor endorses the opinions or services of any of the mentioned individuals or entities. Some of the views and opinions expressed may not be the views of Raymond James.